Hi, this is Kirsten. So for this last week, I wanted to go back and visit my paradigm of learning that we created the first couple weeks of class. So this was my poster, and I'm going to go kind of review first and then go through and make my changes. So I thought this was going to be easier to do in Paint. um, I'm currently on my fourth outtake, so kind of not loving Paint anymore at the moment, but it's the best way I feel like I can edit it on screen with some fluidity. So if you had other suggestions for another site to try, definitely drop me a comment and I will take a look for the future. Um, so I had teaching and guiding up here as the major suns that help our little brain plants grow. So those are the nourishments that our kids need to grow and to learn. And then I kind of visualized each subject area as its own pot with its own plant. And some of those plants are big, some of them are small. Each kid has something that they're great at and something they have a weakness in. And all of that is perfectly fine for that kid. So I really visualized things being separate in the brain and that we were teaching to those specific targeted areas. And I really kind of viewed these as the only, maybe not the only, but the major two ways that we were contributing to learning. So just to start here, don't make fun of my drawing, please. But just to go ahead and start off, I think there's a lot more than two suns. Now, if I'm going to stick with this analogy, which who knows, talk to me next week, I may not stick to it. But if we're sticking to my suns and plants here, I think there's a lot more than two suns. We have student interests that help foster growth. We have peers that can help. We have being connected and using technology in a worthwhile way. I've seen that a lot with the Genius projects we're doing. My kids are reading vocabulary terms that I did not know that they could read because, well, it's interest powered and they're connected to it, they're invested in it. And my kids are writing opinion reviews, and when they were so sloppy, and when I said we were going to share them, well, suddenly now that it's a peer supported activity, they are just all about it. So I think there's just a lot more into fostering growth than just the teaching and guiding sons I had up here before. I did realize that these were factors, but I didn't quite give them the notoriety that they should have gotten. So down here, I just had three buckets here as an example of kind of how I view how we teach certain things. But right now, I'm thinking it is more, here we go, more fluid. So instead of having separate buckets for everything, I am kind of changing and seeing this as one giant, like a trough, if I'm again sticking to my plants. And instead of all of the plants here, and this isn't quite how I thought it out in my head, but for some reason this is what I put, all of these plants are exactly the same. And I don't really think that anymore. So, for example, I'm gonna test my drawing skills here. I've got a kid who hates reading, but he loves football. So I'm going to try and foster these little, man, look at that. That's not bad at all. Uh, these little brown football flowers in his ELA pot to try and get him more interested in reading areas. So maybe by fostering those little football plants in the ELA spots, maybe that can help. Um, I've got some that are really interested in music. So just ignoring the social skills down here, I'm gonna play to that and do some stuff with music and try and get them interested. Man, look at that. Try and get them interested in things through music and researching and reading and writing about music. So I can take their interests and foster new and unique growth.